But we also have words that they don't have to be big vocab words, but stuff like truth, justice, equality. These are also abstract words, even though most of us kind of know what they mean. I mean, maybe if we were pressed, it might be hard to, pin down one definition. But those abstract words, they might elicit an emotion, they might create a feeling, sensation in us, either, truth. I love truth. I don't think anyone's going to hate truth, but, if we flip to more negative words like greedy, some people may think, ooh, greedy, get me away from greed. So we can have emotional reactions to abstract words, and specific and concrete words tend not to elicit emotions as easily. Then in the middle rungs, which I intentionally skipped over, we have more of the jargon-heavy intellectual words, stuff that's confusing, stuff that I would actually recommend you avoid as much as possible. These are words like epistemology, ontology, skepticism, empiricism. So sometimes they're scientific, sometimes, jargon in any number of fields. I would say the only time it makes sense to use those words is if you know your audience is only, philosophers, only scientists. Most of the time, you don't want the middle rungs. Because what they do is they create this gray zone where I mentioned before, we have those abstract words like truth, justice, equality. They can elicit a strong emotion in us. And the specific, concrete words, they can elicit a strong visual in our minds. And the middle rungs kind of create that weird, middle ground. Maybe we somewhat have an emotional reaction to them, but we can't really visualize them. The emotion isn't that strong in us. So that's essentially, I think, why we get confused by them easily. But why do I bring this up? Why talk about the ladder of abstraction? Well, my claim, the thing that I want to argue today, is that most people, this is premise one, most people default toward their highest level of vocabulary. So let me say that again. Most people assume that, if I'm college educated, if I read at a college level, then I should talk at a college level. That I should use words that I would use around, PhD students. And I think that premise is false. I think that's the wrong way to look at the world, but I think that's how most people look at it when they have never been presented with the ladder of abstraction. But I want to take that one step further and actually claim that those people, the people who are likely in this middle to upper rung area, where they're not using abstract words that we all know, like truth, justice, equality, but rather using their jargon-heavy intellectual words that maybe the people in their circle know, the people in their profession know, but that the regular person who's talking to them, just having a random conversation, they're going to tune out. They're going to get bored. That those types of, and I'm just calling them PhD students, but you have to understand, I'm talking about just someone who is a relatively smarter person. Those people are least likely to be good communicators, least likely to be creative and to tell creative stories. And that actually, if you tend to communicate in the lower rung of the ladder of abstraction, if you tend to paint visual pictures in people's minds when you talk, when you can really describe a scene, when you tell a story and you can usually engage people, that those are the best communicators. So actually, using the lower rung in the ladder of abstraction is a good thing if you're a storyteller. Even if you do have a big vocabulary, and yeah, you could flex and talk about all your jargon-heavy words as much as you want, but I'm saying jargon does not make you a good communicator. A big vocabulary does not make you a good, engaging communicator.
If you enjoyed that clip, I just have 3 things I want you to do. The first thing is hit subscribe, follow the channel for new content. Second thing, go and watch the full episode. If you like this clip, you're probably going to enjoy what I talk about in the entire podcast. And the third thing, which I think is the most important, go and buy my new book, Off With His Head. It's on Amazon right now. Not only is it the best way to support this channel and the content I'm making, but I truly believe that it is a foundational book, something that can provide you existential security in an increasingly polarized and radicalized and chaotic world. This is a book of hope for people who are stuck living with a cynical worldview. We are living at a time where our rational mind is actually short-circuiting because of all the information overload we're receiving. We need more silence and stillness, not more information. Wisdom comes from the gap between thoughts, the gap between sounds, the gap between the news. And that is what I want to convey in this book. So if that sounds appealing to you, then go right now, click the Amazon link, go and buy that book. You will thank yourself later.